and Super Legends. Elder here. Saturday morning. It's about 7:12 Central Time, and getting ready to roll out. I didn't get any confirmation from any other riders, so I believe it's only going to be Paul. We figured out that Paul's challenges are probably related to some bronchial issues he was having. If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, you could hear Paul breathing on the video when we rode with Jeremy. So I believe that was what was compromising his breathing. And you know you need oxygen for your muscles to fire. So he couldn't get in to see the doctor for some reason. I guess the doctor's practice is so good, his doctor that he's been seeing. He said he won't be able to see him until like late December. So Paul went ahead and just decided to look for another doctor. I told him, yeah, I would do the same. Because obviously, you know, he doesn't care to find out what's going on with you. So anyhow, I want to welcome our newer super legend, Spence. You know yourself. The channel appreciates your generosity. Riders like you that are excited about this channel mean a lot, and that's what keeps this channel going. So I want to welcome you to the channel. I want to thank you for patronizing us. We're going to roll out. I'm going to go ahead and get ready and roll out. We basically not really sure what kind of route we're going to do. We'll make it up when we get out there, but we'll take some clips for you guys and try to get some teaching moments during this ride. Hope you get a chance to get out and get your miles in. I want to go ahead and get ready. Good morning, legends. Time to roll out. We're running a little behind what I had planned, but still on time for the meeting. I was going to ride over to Paul, but cloudy, warm morning. I got my lights on and everything. The overlay is not displaying any kind of stats from GPS because the satellite has not linked to the head unit yet because of the overcast skies. So the only things you see from the display are coming directly from, say, the heart rate monitor, my cadence meter, and so forth that are directly synced to the head unit.
I don't think GPS has kicked in yet. It's overcast like this. It takes it a while for my head unit to sync GPS satellite. That's why I don't have any heading or anything up here displayed right now.
Right there, that beep you heard is my head unit syncing with the GPS satellite.
Should show up.
And right now you can see I've got speed. and the next thing, grade will show up, and then my distance will start being calculated, and then the cores and so forth will pop
I don't have a
in.
speed sensor on this bike. When I use it on the road, I leave a speed sensor.
So what I'm explaining here is that I don't use a speed sensor on my bikes when I'm outside, because GPS calculates my speed based on my relative position. So I don't bother putting the speed sensor on there. I only use it on the trainer indoors. So at this point, everything is synced, and I had trouble getting the timer to work, the lap timer. It always happens on these kind of days. So
You can see his
I
light.
spot Paul right here. And so I do a U-turn, because he's the only one who said he was coming out the ride today. So we're headed
Just gonna go ahead and turn
north.
Hey man, I was running a little behind. Hey, he brought your red shoes out. Yeah, I see it. Looks good. Let me get it on camera here. That's a good spot for it. So you just use the strap. With the Cell SMP, with that little thing there, you can put anything back there.
I've always felt that that's the best spot to put the light. It's high up and it's very visible. So we're heading to the woodlands here. Well into the warm up. And it turns out that I can tell that Paul's riding better, his breathing's better, so he was not well. And we confirmed it. He told me that he was having pains in his chest when he was breathing. Had I known that, I would have talked him out of riding last week. Every time you have issues below the neck, you're supposed to take the day off. So he's back to his old self. And I plan to put it to the test today on this ride. So I plan to take him to the same effort that he was having challenges with. But I could tell already that he was riding better, he was breathing better, so he was definitely sick. Had some kind of infection in the lungs. So it's good to see him back, because I couldn't hear his breathing today. The last couple of weeks it was now you guys notice I'm reaching in my pocket for something to eat, and I'm maintaining my line. And the way you do that is to keep your eyes where you want to be tracking on the bike. Where you look is where the bike goes. I was telling Paul that on Tuesday I rode on this road and I stopped and cleared. There were some big boulders on the shoulder and I threw them in the woods there. I don't know why people would leave stuff on the side of the road like that. So there's got to be some workman or something, because there's a little park to the right. There's a hike and bike trail on the right. You can see it through the woods there. There's always stuff being left on the road. I got my orange shoes out today. They match the kit nicely. The color is not true on this camera here, because it's more of a reddish orange. And on the film it's looking yellowish orange. So at some point here soon, Paul hits a rock, one of those small rocks, and you would hear it right there. I did a replay. So he had a flat.
Oh man, I have flat.
So I asked him, what did you hit? Because I didn't really see anything. We couldn't see the rock afterward. It must have flicked off the road.
So early. I think I hit a rock. Here.
Oh, you sure right there?
You sure? Just right there. Yeah. Just bring that up.
So we had noticed that there was a ticking on his bike. And so I've been listening for it. So as we head out in Flint Ridge here, I'm listening to see if I can hear the
We'll have
ticking.
to deal with it another time. Let's go.
And so I told him we'll deal with it later.
I hear it when you stand. So it's not coming from somewhere else.
So we decided that on this ride, we're going to focus on strength work today. We're going to keep the cadence lower than we normally pedal at. So usually when I have people working on strength, we keep the cadence between 50 to 65. But for Paul, we're going to keep it 60 to 75 because he has
prior injury to his knee, and so I want to make sure he can handle it first before we go lower. So this time of year we work on this. So as you see, as the hill kicks in at 4%, you see my cadence is at 60.
Make your legs hurt.
So I'm telling him to feel the gear. So we're using a large gear. I'm probably in a 53, 16 or 15, something like that on this climb. So most of the ride we're just focused on strength, and that's how you do an on-bike strength regimen.
Check the front tire.
Right here, one of our local squirrels crossing the street here in the woodlands. They cross in stages.
The noise can come from the front.
I'm also listening to try and diagnose the ticking that he's having on his bike. So that's the hardest thing with it, is once you get a noise on the bike, it's hard to find exactly what's causing it, because so many different sources can cause the same symptoms. And so as I rode with him, I diagnosed, and I narrowed it down to I think it's the freewheel and the hub. It may need to be lubed or tightened.
Just keep riding.
So if you watch Paul here in this clip, you can see him muscling that gear. We're kicking to a little grade here. That's how you build your strength. You do these workouts, you have to have the right durations. And then you have to know how to go back to your normal cadence and blend everything in. So we ride side by side on this part here, so I just sped it up because I was keeping us side by side to keep the effort consistent and kind of coach Paul along. Right here we're headed south on Alden Bend at Research Forest, and we stay in the big chain ring the whole time, and in a big gear, I would say probably bigger than an 84-inch gear, even at the lights. So we're basically powering the gear. You're teaching your body to handle load. And this workout, you have to be very cautious about it, because it puts a lot of stress not only on your legs, but also on your lower back, because it uses the muscles back there. So you have to really be cautious how you go about it. So we get through the light. Paul is leading. Paul did a lot of pulling on this ride. He was very anxious to come out and ride because he felt really good, and at least he figured out what was wrong. You know, it was something he ate that led to some nausea and other ailment 2 weeks ago, and it just never went away. And I think we just didn't pay enough attention to it. So once he got a handle on that, it eased his mind. And that's the biggest thing, because when you're not sure what is going on with you, it just raises a lot of questions. And that's why I always get people to go back and retrace their steps. So it was easy to figure out once he went back and said, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago I wasn't feeling well in the middle of the week. And then I came out and rode on Saturday, and my breathing was compromised when we rode with Jeremy. And then the week later, we did this Grand Fondo, and he wasn't himself. And then today, he's feeling great. So you just got to pay attention to yourself, pay attention to your body. So I take over the lead here, and my goal was to make sure we got to the same zone. You can see my heart rate says 161, thereabouts. This is the same effort that Paul was falling off when we were riding, just the two of us in our Grand Fondo. And he actually took the lead at this effort. So that was good to see and just kind of watch. And besides that, the fact that his breathing was back to normal, I couldn't hear him breathe. The last couple of weeks, I could hear him breathe. So yeah, I could tell whatever was going on in his lungs has been cleared up. And by the way he was feeling and everything. So had he told me his chest hurt when he was breathing last week, I definitely would have told him to sit out the Grand Fondo, because anytime you're having trouble below the neck, you should not ride. You should just take the day off, let your body heal. So he's had a week, and he's feeling like himself again. That's great. So we head down here on Taramount. We turn right here. I really like this little climb because it's not steep, but it surprises you.
That's right. Let's go. Let's get that gear going.
And so yeah, right here it bites. And so I'm telling Paul, keep it going in this same gear. We're just keeping the cadence. because my goal is to keep my cadence from 50 to 65. And in certain parts of the ride, I let it go a little higher, but to just make the legs hurt. So this time of year, I want to just build strength. I can already spin high cadences. So it's time to build strength. So you can see right here at 164 beats per minute, last week, Paul couldn't hold. And he's pulling in this zone. So that just lets you know that you got to reevaluate what's going on if your performance is effective and go back and see what happened that week. It doesn't have to be an ailment. It could be a lot of stress at work, lack of rest. Anything can compromise your performance. And once you get a handle on it, when you have events coming up, you got to make sure that you're willing to tell people no and don't take on too much more than you can handle. I have no trouble telling people no. If you end up doing a million things, that can wear you down too. It's not just ailment. It's just having a lot of chores or a lot of tasks to perform can make you tired. So I edited quite a bit of this because Paul spent a lot of time on the front. I did not necessarily stay in the draft that much because the wind is actually coming from our face. Down here, I wanted to get a view of what kind of gearing he was in, but it doesn't look like it shows very well with the shadows. But he's in the middle in the back, so it's definitely like an 87-inch gear or more. Definitely bigger than an 84. But what I was saying was I spent a lot of time when I was behind him just in the wind, just rolling my gear. You can see it says 75. I mean, I usually don't ride in this range that long, but most of this ride loves to go. We're definitely going harder right here than what Paul was having problems with, and he's sitting in with no problem. So you can hear the wind. That's one thing we have in this area. Besides the fact that we don't have very long climbs, we have a lot of wind. So effectively, we get to simulate climbing. And that's why it doesn't matter where we ride, even if the climbs are longer, we can handle it. So that's why I was very surprised last week that Paul was not performing, but now we know why. So always listen to your body. The body will tell you. Get up in the morning, you're not feeling so great. Maybe that day you ride a little less hard, or let's say in a lower zone than you had planned. You make plans and then life happens. So I think Paul didn't tell me because he knew I would have told him to rest, and he really wanted to ride. So I think he actually mentioned that to me. He said, I really was looking forward to that ride.
So that's the effort that you couldn't handle when I was riding in front of you last week.
Yeah.
Up above.
This on the week.
A lot of times those infections take at least 2 weeks to clear. That's why I tell you, if your symptoms continue, after 7 days, see a doctor.
So right here we resume after crossing Woodlands Parkway. We headed south on Terramont Drive. And you notice Paul put his hand out to kind of warn me of the obstacles. Now, if you watch this video, what you're seeing is where my eyes are. I'm basically never directly behind Paul, and that's how you want to ride in the pack. Do not follow directly behind to where you can't see around the person, because the warnings are courtesy.
It's not taking anymore. I think it needs to be lube. Yes, I think the cassette on the hub. I think that's where the problem is.
The ticking on Paul's bike has gone away, and what that clues me is that the freewheel and the hub interface may be dry, or it may be loose, or it may be worn, because who knows? It's hard to tell. So we'll have to take it apart and look in there. That's what I suspect. I don't believe it's anywhere else. I believe it's coming from the wheel. So once we do the troubleshooting, we'll be able to narrow it down. So we turn right here, and there's a nice little bump coming up. So I move up to Paul. I want to make sure he works and takes advantage of this terrain. And that's the way you want to do it. Your whole ride does not need to be on the rivet. But when you come to the right situation, like right here, I'm powering up this climb. In the 60s, I'm in a huge gear. It's got to be like a 15 or something ridiculous like that. But I'm feeling good. My legs, I want to make them hurt. And so I come by him and I take the lead. Because when you build your strength in a structured program, once you blend it back with high cadence, you can spin a big gear at very high cadences. And that's what gives you speed. Speed is cadence maintained for the distance. And the reason I mention that is, don't worry about the people who are jumping like jackrabbits and they go nowhere and they can't hold it. That's just dumb riding, in my opinion. Because what's the point of accelerating past somebody and then you stall and then you're in the way and they come by and pass you again? Road racers, when they break away, they go really hard and then they maintain it and they try to hold people off. They don't make it easy for people to catch back up. So keep that in mind the next time you're attacking. So we're headed west here towards Tomball, Texas. I'm not very good with the draw. I'm still working on it many years later. But as you guys can see, Paul's been at the front most of this ride. He insisted on staying up there. And so over here, I figured, I was watching him. I did not want him to wear himself out because this is Saturday and then on Sunday we rode again. It turned out that, this is Monday morning, I'm editing here. But it turned out being a very wet, windy ride. Because this time of year we get fronts. So right here I take over from him. I figure I'd give him a break. He spent most of the ride in the front. And this is a grade. It's less than 1%, but it's a grade. I'm in a big gear here. I am definitely in a gear larger than the 5317. You can even see on the picture. The camera's interpretation of the color of those shoes actually lightens it, makes it more of a yellowish orange, but it's actually a reddish orange. But the cool thing about our kit is anything in the family from red to yellow, even white, black, they work. So all my shoes that I have black, I got white. They should work well with this kit. And so I'm very thrilled with this kit. And I just wanted to mention that we're adding pieces to the kit. We're going to winterize our kit. I've already ordered arm warmers. I will be building a web store and putting items out there. The ones that are in stock will be there, of course, but there will be opportunities for people to pre-order so that we can buy specifically what people need. We have done the designs for many things, but some of the minimum quantities are a bit high. Like we wanted to get caps, and they've already designed them, but they're saying you have to buy 200 caps. So it's on the list for later. So I went ahead and ordered the arm warmers, and I'm waiting for the samples of the gloves to come so we can decide which gloves to order, because the gloves are all season gloves, fingerless, but one is longer that covers the wrist and one stops at the wrist. And so once the samples get here, we'll decide which ones to order. But I would load all the images on the website, and if people are interested and we get enough interest and enough pre-orders, then we'll just buy whatever people want. So I had them design everything from vests and jackets in the theme. I mean, they look awesome. You know, kudos to the Santini folks. And so I will put everything out in the web store. And once we get the prescribed quantities, on the vests and stuff, we just need 15. So it's not that bad. But the hats, you got to get 200, because I think they get the blank hats in quantities of 200, and then they print them with your team colors. And that's what that's about. They're still fairly reasonable. I mean, I plan on, with the hats, probably like $25 a hat or something like that. I'm looking at that as a cost for just keeping the price low for especially the Super Legends. So I'm setting up the store to where Super Legends will have discount codes. I'm still doing the research. I want to build it to where Super Legends take advantage of some additional perks that I'm going to set up for them, because they're the guys that are really supporting the channel and keeping us going with the ability to turn out these videos. These videos do take a lot of time to put together. So because of that support, I'm able to do that. So anyhow, you can see that my cadence is right under 70, and I'm making sure that my legs work. And even though I'm doing this, you can tell I'm still not thrashing all over the bike. That's the key. You have to stay under control, and you have to make sure you're doing a gear you can handle. If the gear is too big, then you're going to be all over the place. So I checked this for traffic. Nothing's coming. We roll. It's a nice quiet neighborhood. There's another stop sign coming here, so I roll. Since I'm in front, I look left first, and then I check. And we're coming to the intersection of our Tomball Expressway that they're currently constructing, and then we discover that they've changed the traffic routing on this little road. Once they get to where they start building the access road, they move traffic over. So they've narrowed this one into just 2 lanes here. It used to be one. But we're going straight across, so it's not a big deal. So the light changes here, and I stay in the same gear and just power it through. So we make the light okay. And then from here, we can see that this is the Lone Star College entrance to our back way. And the gate is closed. Not sure why they do that. When I went to college, I was on campus on the weekends using the library and stuff. So I don't really know why they closed theirs. So anyway, that hampers cars, but not us. So
On the weekend, yeah.
that's what we're talking about. We used to go to the library on the weekend when we were in college. Every other weekend they close their gate here, so I guess the students are not coming here for anything. It's a private college, it's a small college, it's not a major
Yep.
university or anything, so that's probably why.
A place like this, the road cars will work on our sprints. Without oxygen, it affects the bike. Couldn't have been comfortable at work.
So I just stayed in the same gear. It's probably a 5315, something big. It's a big gear. And we're just chatting, so I don't care about the cadence. We're going to take the shortcut here, but I plan on staying in the same gear. And in this stretch here, I keep my cadence
Well,
very,
that
very
last
low
tree,
when we
man,
get down there. You'll
hopefully
see.
it's still standing. That tree, well, barely holding on.
So we go through here, and then right before I get out through there, I duck, because there's a little bit of a vine with thorns on it right there on that tree, and the little tree stump anyway. So I just didn't want it snagging my jersey. That's why I ducked my head. Next time I go through there, I'm gonna pull that thing out of the way. I don't think people are using that trail that much. It's a little pathway. I like coming through here because right here the grade picks up,
Our ride will only hit track and vicious.
and I'm already in a heavy gear, so my RPMs are going to be very, very low, probably below 40. I think I'm just turning the gear. It's a blind corner here, so I'm checking for traffic. It's clear, so we go through because you really can't see very well. And I'm just turning the gear because, you know, we're talking. So I speed it up here because on this stretch I'm showing Paul some specific workouts for strength work that we're going through. And so we ride side by side here, and we go over this grade. You can see that if you look at the grade now, right here, it's going up. It says 2%. I think it goes up to probably 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 briefly. And so it's a tough enough climb to where if you see my cadence, 33, 34. So you need to do something like that. You need to make sure, first of all, that you don't have any knee problems, that your position's right, and really that you don't overstress your knees. But that's how you get your legs strong, and then you take that strength and convert it into speed with a higher cadence. So now we're going to enter Spring Creek Park. I like this park because when I moved to Houston after living in Austin for a while, I used to come in here and just do some repeats. And it was just a quick way to get a workout because I have a shorter way to get to this park from where I live that I would use during the week. Sneak away at lunch, come, and in an hour and a half, get just a strong workout. And the quality was very high because I would do 4 loops in this park. So we go through here, and this first little loop that we do, the reason we do this is because it has like a 4 to 5% that bites. If you look at the grade here, as we go up, now my cadence in the 60s, same gear. I'm just turning it harder. I downshifted on this one a little bit. I'm probably in a 19 or something like that. But you see my cadence, I just let it happen. This car is kind of in the way on the left. I'm not sure what he's doing. And so I told Paul to wait. You can see the signal I used. And then when I realized he's stopping, I let him know we can go around. These people are kind of spoiled. To come to a park and sightsee in a car, I mean, come on, man. Park that thing and walk. Really? So that's one we just passed. You will see another one. I mean, let's get real here. We got drive-thrus to pick up fast food. I mean, what's next? We got drive-thru to pick up drugs when you need prescription medication. Now they're driving through the park. Park the car and enjoy nature. I mean, gosh. Get out of those cars and walk. Use your body as a machine. You're so disconnected when you're in the car. Get out of the car, get a bike, get a scooter, get something. Get closer to what you're trying to look at. What's the point of going to the park to drive through it? I mean, let's get real here. You might as well do something else. But we've been seeing that lately. People just crawling around at 5 miles an hour in a car to sightsee. So we get through that. We're going downhill here. And what happens when you're doing these kind of workouts? You got to make sure you mix it up. You don't want to spend the whole day at super low cadence. You got to remind your body what your normal cadence is. That's why you have to have a structured regimen to make sure you know what you're doing. I had just put the cleats on these shoes. I hadn't used them in a while. And so the left foot was a little, just slightly, it felt like a little off. So once I got home, I got it sorted out. So you guys notice all the signals we're using. Basically, you just want to point at stuff. If something's going to hamper people you're riding with, point at it. If you notice, Paul's behind me, but he can see around me. So I use the dirt here, so I don't have to deal with a speed bump. And right here, this thing bites. So I downshifted. I'm probably in a 53.23, which is like a 39.17, a 62-inch gear, which is fairly reasonable. And you can see my cadence is 69.70. It's not ridiculous because I don't want to just do one thing the whole ride. And just watch my form. I ankle when I pedal. That's just my natural way of pedaling. It's not required for everybody. The bottom line is that you pull back. Scrape like you're scraping dirt off your shoe. And that's why this close-up I'm using that for. You can see the gear I'm in. I'm up in the back, which I think is a 23. Because my last gear there, my smallest ratio in the back is a 25 tooth cog. So I'm using a 23. So we slowly take this turn here. And then I spot that car up there. And that's another sightseer in the car. I don't know what they're looking at here. Maybe the trees, because there's nothing else out here right now. There are no animals. But we notice the driver's not moving much at all. Seriously? Paul says, seriously? So I just moved left. I passed left just like a car would. Because she's braking and slowing down like 2 miles an hour. So we rolled past her.
Drive it like you stole it.
I told her to drive it like she stole it. To come to a park and sightsee in a car, the windows are up and you're driving at 2 to 3 miles an hour looking at the park. I mean, really? Come on. That dulls the experience. Get out of those things and walk around, smell the grass. So I speeded up here because once again, Paul and I are riding side by side because I'm coaching him on how to drive the big gear to get the strength work done. So we weren't really, I wasn't in front because I was riding side by side. It's more effective to ride side by side and actually have him do the drills. So right here I roll to the front again, and he's taking a breather because he has not done these kind of workouts. It doesn't take long. Once you get used to it and understand the process involved, you can make variations to it. I don't like too much structure when I ride. I like to do more than what I think the body can handle, so that every ride you're stronger than the ride before. And these kind of rides that we do, they may not seem like they're balls out or whatever, but when we mix with other riders, we hold our own because we're conditioned. So right here, I did a replay. I want you to watch how I ride. This is steep, and I'm in a big gear intentionally. And look at my body. Look at my torso. Look at my torso. It helps you stay smooth. That movement helps you stay smooth. That's the thing. It's not unnecessary, and I'm not thrashing. Here we go once again. Watch my body. Kind of rocking. I'm on the tops, and I'm just getting into the rhythm that allows my legs to carry that big gear by my torso moving. And you can see how I'm moving with the pedaling motion. That's the kind of movement that's useful. And I just wanted to stress that, because right after here we stop at our rest stop, the Phillips 66 store in Tomball. And you can see, regardless of what gear I'm riding, what cadence I'm riding, my form is the same. There's a car behind us. He's patient. We let him know we're turning. He ended up on his way to this store too, and which was really cool. I unclip here because that's a doorway. The door comes out, so I always unclip just in case somebody comes out. That's the car that was behind us. He was coming here as well. We head home on one of my favorite roads, the FM 2920. You take this road for granted, it will make you crawl. It's always here. Our coach is always on this road, the wind, and today is no exception. The wind is blowing from our right and in our face. Our right is south. Directly in front of us is east. It's more from the south than east. So here, I told Paul we need to do an Echelon. He's getting the camera situated, and I'm getting us up to speed because this thing is blowing. This road is like farm country. It is not flat. It does not register at 1%, but it has grades. It's not completely flat. So right here, we're kind of getting rolling, and I'm just getting into some kind of a rhythm. And you can see here as Paul comes on my left, he's coming real close because it's very windy. And as he gets closer, the camera is in his left hand, so the lens is on the left of the camera. So when he gets really close, what you'll end up seeing is just a piece of my body and then the road. Because as you get close in the Echelon, I'm letting him know about this piece of concrete on the road. And that's the thing with the signals. You know, people had asked, why don't you do a video? I think Simon Moses asked, can you do a video with the signals? And I've given it some thought, and I thought that it would be too structured because there are no finite signals per se. You want to use gestures as much as possible to just warn the riders you're riding with as you encounter obstacles. Whether it's a car coming out of a driveway, you don't always have to say car up. You can point to it. Sometimes I do that. I point to the car. Using the gestures gets the attention of your fellow riders more effectively, especially in the wind. They can't understand what you're saying when it's windy, unless they're right next to you, and that's not the case in a group. So pointing is more effective, and you can make them up however you want. The bottom line is, watch the gestures we use. We'll point to obstacles. We'll point to things we want you to be aware of. And never ride the group into an obstacle. And the way to avoid doing that, if you're at the front and you be at your limit, it's kind of hard to point out. So stay under control. You can see here, I'm trying to find a nice low position because the wind is just pounding us. I am not that concerned about my speed. I'm more concerned about my effort. We're staying right around the bottom of zone 4. I think this is where Paul takes over. We split. Yeah, he hands me the camera, so I move on his left over here. You see my cadence is right around mid 70s to about 80. I was trying to get Paul's gearing here, but with the way the light is, it just didn't really come out that way. Couldn't really see it that well. So right here, the road has a slight grade. It's Dowdell Road. I'm trying to get a good shot here so you guys can kind of watch how Paul rides. Especially with the grade, his form did not change. So right here, he asks for the camera. Letting him know that was a good pull. He pulled for a long time. I had to edit it down. So this guy was turning right, so after he turns, the light changes. I told Paul to go ahead. So I take over the duties at the front. That's what I'm talking about, signal. All I'm doing is I'm pointing to the imperfection in the pavement. All you do is you call the attention, someone's attention to it. But you can tell that Paul can see around me. That's the way I was saying earlier in this video. When you're riding, do not ride blind. If you're directly, just like when you're driving your car, if you get behind a lorry real close, you can't see around them. And you're depending on their brake lights? No. You need to be able to see what's coming up. Same thing. Stay to the left or to the right of whoever you're following. Stay slightly off to one side, whichever works for you. You want to be able to see around them. Even if your bike is tracking directly behind them, if your body allows you to see around them, then you're good. You need to see for yourself because it is your responsibility. Pointing things out is a courtesy. Don't depend on that. If somebody is at their max, they're not going to be able to point anything out. They're taking all the energy they have to hang on for dear life. They don't have time to point out. There are people that will ride through obstacles just to hang on. I know you've probably been there if you've done a lot of group riding. And I mean, I don't recommend riding in a group that puts you in a position of where your wits are not about you. That means you're riding over your head. You got to wait till you improve. So yeah. But there are times when people just can't point to things. They're using everything they have to hang on for dear life. So you're in a group, you need to keep your eyes open and look out for yourself as well as others if you can. But for everybody else in the group, you got to look out for yourself. If everybody's looking out for themselves, then it doesn't matter if you get the signal or not. You got to be watching. I don't care how big the group is, you need to be able to see around and see ahead, see up the road, see what's coming. That's the key. There's a truck on the right here, so I let the driver behind know that we're coming out to use the road. He was far enough away to where we could do that. That's why I came back right away. On the shoulder. Sped it up here just to show kind of a time lapse. It kind of looks cool. So at this, when the light changed, I clip in here, but my pedal, even though it was in there, it just didn't feel right. It's almost like I clipped in sideways or something. I don't know what was, maybe there was something in there. So I ended up sitting down, unclipping, and then clipping back in. Then it felt right. So it somehow got in there in a twisted manner. I don't know. But no big deal. It all worked itself out, and we'll resume. And what I talked about in my video earlier this week about the aerodynamics versus comfort. If you guys watch just my body style, when I'm in the drops here, I'm relatively low. But the reason is you don't have to really constrict your upper body too much. You want to find a good balance. And when things are set right, you just slice through the air. Your body will go through the air. And so it comes right back to just a lot of people ride bikes. I watch a lot of people that have very high saddles. They're not comfortable. And you can watch people when they're riding. If their hips are rolling on each stroke from side to side, that's the first sign that the saddle is too high. If you're uncomfortable there, you won't be able to keep your torso down because you're dealing with other issues. I'm letting Paul know the pavement here is really rough, so I stood up. Standing up and doing what I did here saves your tires, it saves your wheel, and you can avoid having pinch flats. Even if you go through small rocks, I always stand. I don't care how tiny they are, and let the tire bounce over them. I don't want anything to compress my tire. And when you're seated, that's what happens. So sometimes I do that without standing. I just transfer my weight to the pedals. So even though it may look like I'm still sitting, I put more weight on the pedals and just unload the saddle without getting up. You know, and when you're mated to your bike properly, you can do that. So we're headed east here, and right here with the trees on the right, we got some shelter from the wind. But now we're going to turn right into the wind. We're going to be turning south right here as we wind down this ride. I like to do my hardest efforts at the end of the ride. So you teach your body, because you think about it, most events, everybody wants to finish strong. You're not going to come across anybody who says, I want to crawl across the finish line. Everybody wants to finish strong. So when you go out to ride, if you're doing an hour's ride, save your hard workout for the last 10 minutes before your warm down. Teach your body to work hard when you're tired. That's the key. So you can hear the wind. Starting with last week's video, I did not electronically dub the wind in the software. I allowed the camera's dubbing to stay, and it worked out pretty well. I was more concerned about how the voiceover would work and the music would work, and it was okay. But this gets you guys to feel like you're there with us, instead of it being like we're riding in this vacuum or this tube. Because I think that's what the electronic dubbing from the software does. It just sanitizes it too much. The camera does enough to where I think that's good enough. Because the camera makes the wind seem louder than it is, and so as a result of its adjustment, I think it's perfect. Because that's exactly how the wind sounds to us when we're out there, what you're hearing now. And I'm trying to get this to be as realistic as possible. So right here, we're definitely back into the easterly direction here. The wind is coming from our right, and we can feel it. And if you look at my kit, nothing's flapping. This is what I'm talking about. The kit does not have to be expensive. You don't need to spend $250 on a jersey for it to fit you, or $300 on a short for it to fit you. You have to get it sized right and get a decent manufacturer like Santini that build really good quality kits. So I don't care if you buy Asso's kit. If the jersey is too big for you and it's flapping around, then you wasted your dollars. The fit is important. That's why on the website, when I listed the kit, I spent a lot of time on the details of how to use the size chart, and even offered for people to contact us if they need help with their sizing. and we were able to help quite a few people. And Joe's one of the guys in Dallas that's in love with the kit, because he took advantage of that. He read what was on the website and he ordered a size that fit him. And he was familiar with it, but he loves his kit. So we'll be getting more. I will not be making any changes to the kit because I really love the way it came out, and I don't want newer orders to make the older ones look obsolete. I think that the kit does the job. So those of you who are thinking about getting the kit, go to the website. You can pre-order. We're building up another batch to place an order for the kit. But right now I'm trying to winterize the kit. And that's what I will be putting on the store. And I set it up to where the arm warmers and the leg warmers can be worn with anything. Even if you don't have our kit, it will work with just anything because it's black. And you will be promoting the channel with the logo that's on the arm. It was well done to where you don't have to have our kit. Same thing with the socks that we're gonna get. We're thinking about getting the socks, but we got to get like 150. So I wanted to be basic black with the logo on there. So this is what we did on Saturday, guys, and stay tuned for the epilogue. I decided to throw in an epilogue here just as a twist on this week's video. So get your miles in and stay tuned for the epilogue. Enjoy.
First thing we did today, I took Paul to the zone where he was having problems, and he smashed it. And then I noticed I don't hear him breathing like the last 2 weeks. So we know he's getting better. He had a lung infection or something with his bronchial passages. So now, forget that doctor talking about wait till late December.
I'm back.
So yeah, he's better. He can breathe. You gotta breathe. Your legs need oxygen. Remember, we're talking about deep breathing. If your lungs are compromised, you can't get air in there. It's like a car that has no air coming in. It can't even burn gasoline. Same thing. So today he rode strong. We did a lot of strength work. We kept the cadence low, and the wind cooperated. We had hills, and we had, right now there's a lot of wind, and we're wrapping up this ride. So glad you guys could come along. I hope you got a chance to get out there. But we have a blast. He's back. So at least we nailed it down. So the bike has a problem, it's ticking. I think it's a freewheel. He's gonna come to the shop. This week we'll take it apart and we'll troubleshoot. The hardest thing is troubleshooting where the noise is coming from. So it comes and goes, so that tells me it's minor. So just a little bit of TLC and both will be ready to go. So I hope you guys got a chance to get out there, get your miles in, get those kilometers in your legs. That's what counts. Don't kill yourself, just ride. Ride to live, I'm quoting Jose. Ride to live, boys.